Piers Morgan, Brit for free speech. This British gentleman, this fancy folk. Man, I love Piers Morgan so much, man. I'm going to be honest. He's one of my favorite folks off of is it the Emerald Isles? Or no, that's just Ireland. He is Irish, but he works mostly in England. And he has that received pronunciation, Southern Britain accent. And I love it. Anyways, Piers Morgan. He has suffered a fall resulting in surgical correction. The internet is reacting as a result. The 60-year-old, he tripped apparently on a small step inside a hotel restaurant in London. He described the moment humorously, saying that he felt like a sack of spuds. Jesus Christ. That seemingly minor stumble led to a nasty injury, a fractured neck of the femur. Oh my God. The upper part of the thigh bone connecting to the hip joint. The break was severe enough that doctors determined he needed a hip replacement surgery right away. Holy shit. I heard about this because he made a social media post about it on, I think it was X. I remember seeing it. It was a selfie and then an x-ray fracture, and then now he's recovering in a hospital in London. I'm very happy about it. Good for him. He joked about it about how his new year, it's getting off to a cracking start, and he mentioned that he'll be on crutches for about 6 weeks, plus no long-haul flights for about 3 months to allow proper healing, because apparently, I don't know. I guess that the altitude fucks with it or something. I didn't know that. I didn't know that your health can be affected if you fly or something like that. But apparently it can. Enough so to where if you break your leg, you can't fly. Anyways, interestingly enough, this just gives me the opportunity to share a couple of my favorite moments from Piers Morgan. I love Piers Morgan, and this is an opportunity because I'm sure that a lot of my audience, being Americans, maybe are not aware of this gentleman. He's a Brit, he's a tabloid journalist, and he's one of my favorite people that the island of England, Britain, whatever they want to call it, has produced. I'm sorry, the Beatles are amazing. Musically, they're very talented people. Elton John, whatever. You can tell me anything about them. Freddie Mercury, he was Egyptian, wasn't he? I can't remember. But they are very musical people, and honestly, he is a musician with his words, ladies and gentlemen. Piers Morgan, he has a beautiful received pronunciation accent. He sounds like an actor in The Crown, you listen to him long enough. And I just love his ability to stir shit. I love his ability to mix the pot, as he might say. I don't know how he would say it. I don't know enough British slang for that. But I want to review a couple of my favorite moments, specifically two, involving, is Roger Waters from England? Roger Waters? Yes. He's an English singer-musician. Great Bookham? United Kingdom? Is it Bookham? I don't know. Bookham. I'm going to say Bookham. I don't know. Something like that. He's a singer for Pink Floyd. I get it. Everybody loves the fucking time where it begins with a bunch of chimes because everybody hadn't heard like a song that was all crazy. It's like listen to Day in the Life or whatever it is from Beatles, and that's fucking a cacophony of chimes and noise, and it's like that's original or whatever. I'm sorry. Pink Floyd is not one of my favorites. I listened to it high one time, and it didn't freak me out the way that I wanted it to. It wasn't as transcendent as I wanted, and I'm not a boomer where I'm gonna do acid to it. I'm sorry. I'm not like I get that like. A certain generation got really obsessed with its psychedelics, like trip out and listen to Pink Floyd, man. I just, sorry, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just my generation, it doesn't work on me, but let's review Piers Morgan. This is one of my favorite clips when he worked at CNN, and he is talking to a gentleman I'm pretty sure you'll be able to recognize just via his voice. Just get to the interview, Piers. Interview Piers.
Here's how this is going to work, and it's entirely down to you. I'm going to ask you some questions. In the spirit of a proper debate, and you've had a lot to say so far on the show, a lot of it aimed at me, it's just fine. But I want you to try and answer the questions. It's a proper debate, okay? I'm not trying to trip you up.
No, it's not a debate. You're running the show. You bring in your victims up front.
Actually, no.
Look, you got your little note cards.
Yeah, okay.
I just gave you FBI statistics that violent crime and gun crime is down over 20%.
Alex, let me just ask you
and you want to go to little factoids.
No, they're not little
Anybody can pull those up. Listen.
Do you know what...
Do you have a bodyguard?
Alex.
Why do you have bodyguards?
I don't have a bodyguard.
Yeah, I've seen you on the news with them. Don't you want to protect your wife from hoodlums, or you want to call the police?
Let me ask you this question.
Why does Dianne Feinstein tell 60 Minutes?
Alex.
She plans to try to take Mr. and Mrs. America's guns.
Stop talking over me.
You guys want to disarm all of America.
No, I don't.
Dianne Feinstein's bill does.
I don't.
Gun confiscation.
No, let me clarify for you. You don't seem to understand.
First you register, then you confiscate. It's always done the same.
Here's what the campaign on...
Well, here, give me your little cue cards and I'll answer your questions for you.
What was the weapon used at Sandy Hook?
I've already gone over that and already answered it for
We
you.
haven't talked about Sandy Hook.
No, again.
Again.
223 M4.
Right.
Again, but statistically,
Right.
they're using very low percentage of shootings.
But are you
but
seeing?
you guys?
Are you seeing
people
a pattern?
wouldn't go swimming because the movie Jaws,
biggest-
even though great white
Alex,
sharks kill 5 people
Alex,
a year.
Alex.
You're trying to scare people.
Let me say something.
There's no metal shark in the water.
The same type of weapon was used in the last
Yeah,
three
and that's right.
mass shootings.
And Hitler used semi-autos to kill people.
Why would you
And
not?
so did Mao.
Why would you?
Why is the government arming
Why
to the
would
teeth
you-
against us?
Alex, I don't
What
know.
about Fast and Furious?
Alex,
Why do our government ship guns
calm
into
down.
Mexico?
Alex.
To blame the Second Amendment?
Let's have a debate.
A false flag?
Alex.
A false
Why
flag?
I get accused.
Why'd they blow up Building 7
Alex,
down the street here in
Alex,
New York?
I get accused when I get you guys on of talking over you, of being rude. I'm trying to be civil.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to try and answer some of the questions, right? Here's my issue for you. Why do people civilians need an AR-15 type assault rifle? Why?
For birthdays. I mean, isn't that self-explanatory? For your 14-year-old's birthday, you need an M16 that's more your daughter. But I'm just going to be honest with you. This is American. This is the Americana. I'm sorry. If you don't understand why an 11-year-old could need to buy a Glock in any state, I don't know what else to. I don't know. Do you not believe in this? Do you not believe in the dream? Do you not believe in the dream of the Old West? Do you not believe in the dream of the frontier, the wild world of opportunity? That's what America sells you on. I'm just going to be honest with you. Kids need guns. That's just... It's science. It's something that we can prove via the stats. It's any country where you don't get your kids to shoot guns, I mean, they're going to start drinking alcohol. I mean, the UK, they don't let their kids shoot guns, so the kids start drinking. And I'm not to say American kids do not drink at an early age. I'm sure some of them do. But our rates of child alcohol, who has higher rates of child alcoholism, the UK or America? Let's look it up. Who has higher rates of alcoholism among youth, UK or US? Let's see it. Based on recent data, the United Kingdom, specifically England, has higher rates of alcohol consumption and associated problems among young people and children compared to the United States. I told you! This is science. It's not even debatable. Underage drinking. England has some of the highest rates of alcohol consumption among school-age children, 11, 13, and 15-year-olds in the world. In 2022, 57% of 13-year-old girls and 50% of 13-year-old boys in England reported having consumed alcohol in their life. Binge drinking is apparently a problem among the 16 to 24 age group. Young adults in the UK are more likely to engage in binge drinking compared to the US counterparts, with studies showing around 40% of the UK students, university students, are classified as hazardous drinkers. This is a cultural thing, by the way. While the U.S. Youth generally starts drinking later, often attributed to a higher legal drinking age, the U.S. experienced higher rates of alcohol-related deaths across all age groups compared to the U.K. I'm willing to give them that. Maybe Americans are just willing to go harder. Like, when we start drinking, we're not pussies about it, and we go drinking until our deaths. That's just how Americans do it. We go hard. You ever meet a long-term smoker? They're like, I started smoking when I stole a pack from my dad when I was 16, and now I'm 60, and then, you talk to them next week, you can't talk to them next week because they're dead. I'm sorry, Americans just have a gung-ho style about them. We get it from maybe the Native Americans. We invaded their land and we stole their culture. That's the thing, is that we are gung-ho. We are to the death about things. And certain people, they're willing to take those chain smokes or hits of that, what's it called? Is it a 40? What do they say on the streets? Is it I get a 40 with my mates or something like that, and then they have it in the paper bag, and then they I don't know. You see this in movies all the time. And then what I'm saying is that people will do alcohol, they'll do smoking, they'll do vaping, they'll do anything. They'll do even food. They'll do food to their death. They will DoorDash themselves to death. That's Americans' lifestyles, and I do not blame them, because it's in our culture. It's in our culture to be obsessive about things. It's in our culture to be gung-ho. It's in our culture. I love it. And I don't love it for the results. I love it for the spirit of the American people. I love that we are an ingenuitive people. You meet an alcoholic, and they had to get creative because it's not easy to drink all day. It's not easy to drink every day. They were like, I'm sorry, an alcoholic is the first person I learned how to mix Coke and vodka from. They're like, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get drunk. That's the only attitude. I'm willing to grab like Diet Squirt. Squirt's a big one among alcoholics. They'll get their children to run into Cashwise or some shit, and then grab the pack of Diet Squirt, and then come back to their house, and then get their like little tumbler or something, and then mix them drinks for them. And listen, these are sacred childhood memories for people. You know what I mean? These are like a lot of things that are going to form them into the people they'll be one day. But not to say that this is a good way to raise your child, but listen, alcoholism just has a way of grabbing people in this country, and it's something that we're going to expose our children to. It's something that if you need to have a lock and key on it. I wish that we had a certain generation. It's never been a generation, unfortunately. I don't think there's been a generation that's been able to keep it on lock. The silent generation, the boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z. I'm worried they're starting to vape in front of their kids. You watch TikTok live streams, and there's like new moms that are like 24, and they're like, I got my baby in the crib, like whatever. They're like in their like Ford Focus or something. And then they're like, they got the baby in the back in the whatever, like the special seat, and they're like, I'm a good mom. And then they take a hit off their Geek Bar and then blow it in the car. And I'm like, okay, way to get your kids started early. I mean, good mom move on you, but it's not good for them. Anyways, yes, the UK has just a different way about it. You know what I mean? They start the kids early relating to all that alcohol stuff. Let's continue. I want to address why I'm not a big, listen, Roger Waters, I'm not a big fan of him. I listened to his interview with Piers Morgan. He comes across so self-righteous, so self-obsessed, so I've been fighting for civil rights since I was a youngin. Ever since I marched on Selma with Martin Luther King Jr. himself, or whatever he says, I don't know. And he's like, I love just fighting for civil rights because it makes a lot of people realize what a good person I am. I don't love that kind of people. I love people who are willing to do good deeds, and then they don't get a photo, they don't get a statue made in their honor, they don't go on the news and talk about it. Listen, I think that you're an entertainer. If you are a musician, you're a musician. If you're a comedian, you're a comedian. If you're a news person, you're a news person. If you're a blender of certain things, you're a blender of certain things. I think anybody should be allowed to practice whatever form of art-related things they want to do. But certain people, you watch them blend things, and you go like, I'd rather you just do one thing. And I get that. I understand that there's certain people that just have certain talents relating to whatever. His talent is music. I think not in my opinion, but certain people think Pink Floyd is great, and they would agree with me that his talent is music. So let's I want him to actually make his eloquence and his intelligence self-evident to all of you. So I'm going to play some clips from their interview that they speak to me. They make me chuckle. They make me happy. Let's begin.
I have stood up for human rights all my life. Ever since the day that I marched, for the first time in 1960 or whenever it was, from Aldermaston to Trafalgar Square, and listened to Bertrand Russell and Canon Collins and Father Trevor Huddleston standing there in Trafalgar Square and explaining to us that the independent nuclear deterrent was a terrible mistake, which it was and which it still is, which is something that I also say. At the end of every single gig that I do a song called Two Suns in the Sunset, which is a warning about how we might wake up one morning and the Third World War started.
Well, we might, but we might also, if you were Ukrainian, think that actually having a nuclear deterrent might stop Russian dictators invading you.
Well,
we'll come to that.
We'll come to that. All right, okay. All right, I hope...
In other words, there are two ways of looking at all these things, and we're going to explore them, right?
There's no two ways of looking at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You either believe in it or you don't, and you cannot cherry-pick it.
He cannot cherry-pick it. Listen, I don't think he can. I don't feel grabbed by his words. I don't feel moved. Listen, when you're supposed to be a speaker on these matters, you're supposed to at least interest people with your takes. You're supposed to have intriguing things that make people think. When I hear this man speak, I'm not taken by his words. I'm not fascinated. I don't want to hear more. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I'm not probing for more information. I'm kind of like, okay, you're pretty surface level. I don't think you have more interesting thoughts beyond like, I like when people get along, and I think that no country should be self-interested, and I think that we should all just try to get along, and we should assume the best of others, and that's it. It's a very hippy dippy vibe. It's a not realist vibe. It's a very, I'm sorry, this kind of like blind, borders are just fake things that humans create, that actually values don't matter to a country. As a matter of fact, immigration, we should actually, we should treat all countries as though they're the same, because every single people is the same. Not all people are the same. Not all cultures are the same. And I think that not acknowledging that in your worldview is kind of sloppy, and it's a dead way of looking at the world, admittedly. I think it's dying out. I think after this generation that got... Because admittedly, you talk to other people my age, they don't listen to the Beatles, they don't listen to John Lennon, they don't listen to all these hippie dippies, they don't listen to this boomer talking point type stuff that's just sort of live in peace with all everything. People are understanding that politics is so much deeper than that. It is so much more than... Let's all hold hands. Everybody grew up looking at that worldview, kind of having their issues with it, not really saying anything about it. Nowadays, people are comfortable saying they have issues with it. Nowadays, people are comfortable going, that's not a realistic way of looking at the world. That's not a realistic standard for viewing things. And if you keep looking at that, you're at the world that way, you're going to end up being someone that is just a globalist who gets fucked over by other nations because they're thinking like they're thinking about the world like it is. They're thinking about the world like a game of chess, and you're thinking about it as a Flower Kid festival, let's all hold hands moment. And I'm sorry that it's realism. You got to be real about this kind of stuff. Otherwise, you're going to get trounced, and you're going to look foolish when anybody tries to talk about anything real. Like when Piers Morgan, my darling boy, brings up Roger Waters' finances after he claims to be a full-on capitalist.
I've never wanted for a few quid. I don't invest. I'm not a capitalist.
How much are you worth?
That's none of your business.
It's been reported as over 300 million.
It's none of your business, Piers. Are you deaf? I can see you can read. But you're obviously a little bit deaf. It's none of your business.
Just curious. It's been reported.
Okay.
You admit you're a very wealthy guy.
I'm not going to talk about my personal wealth. It's none of your business, and it doesn't matter. What does matter is that I have stood up for human rights all my life.
Oh my God, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. And you know what? It's not selling anybody. I'm sorry to say it. I love Piers Morgan. I love Piers Morgan for how he exposes people for being fake. I'm sorry to say it. His takes can be wrong sometimes, but on this one in particular, I was just like, oof. Yes, expose him. Expose that just kind of nonsense. That kind of just like, oh, don't talk about my finances. I want to talk about my message. Don't talk about who's financing me. I'd rather not.